Welcome back
Oh,
to another episode
there we go.
about trades, Ravens, and all NFL free agency on the 384th edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Welcome back to another edition, another Friday Eve, another Thursday edition of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 384. Just sit back and enjoy some names right now. The Ed Dixon, TJ Hushmanzada,
Okay.
Jermaine Lewis, Chris Matt,
Okay. Man.
Josh Oliver, Philip Supernaw, and most recently, Zaire Mitchell, paid an
Super null.
edition of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for spending your evening with us as we talk about all things NFL and all things sports. First off, you can follow this guy right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10. And if you have not already, just want to, click that subscribe button and sound off in the chat. And like the video as well. Liking the video helps out a ass ton, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming through. How are we doing in the chat? How are we doing in Sutton? We are one day until Friday.
Yes, we have made it to yet another weekend in this ever so dreaded off season. Whenever there's a lull or there's no Ravens football, and we're forced to look at other sports. I know you have you have soccer. I've got like MMA, basketball, stuff like that. I know you're having the time of your life, but in
Am
terms
I?
of like,
Am I?
well, are you? What's the update on that?
I mean, every game to me, I took a picture. My heart rate got to 125 yesterday watching Arsenal. 125. Like, that's how important these games are coming for me. Like, we were winning, and the team were going one, like, just head to head with, like, over these points they were drawing. And I'm like, you got to get this done. Because to be honest, like, we say Super Bowl or bust. This year for Arsenal is championship or bust. If they don't win anything, it might just blow up and it may never happen. So I'm trying to have fun. Like the prospect of watching it is fun. But
Wait a
when
minute.
the
Why
time
is
comes,
that though, Alex? Why is that?
when you finish in third place 3 years in a row, in
Mhm.
second place 3 years in a row, if you finish in second place 4 years in a row, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. It's hard to get over that hump just mentally. If you can't do it this season, you never will, unfortunately. And that's kind of how it is.
Kind of like that Dan Campbell. This might be our only shot. Is
Like,
it, is it is that what it's given?
it is, and it's like the Bills. How do you go to 4 straight Super Bowls and lose every one? How do you finish in second place 4 years in a row? That's kind of what I'm
Boy,
looking
I love
at.
losing Super Bowls.
Yeah, yeah. So see, so I'm kind of enjoying it, but like right now, it's the prospect is nice. 7 points right now, lead, with a game in hand, 8 games to go, and I'm just fast forward me to May, fast forward me to the end of the draft, and that means the end of the season. So, but as right now, I'm trying to enjoy it. But I hope you are. I mean, UFC, you got a nice card this weekend. We get
Oh
the
yeah.
White House card update soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for that White House card drop, man. I mean, whoever they announce for that one, whether it's John Jones, whether it's Conor McGregor, Alex Pereira, it's gonna be a banger. I know that much for a fact. Now, in terms of this weekend, though, we also have a really good card this weekend, especially the main event. You got Max Holloway, legend, going up against Charles Oliveira, legend. Actually, in their second fight, they fought like maybe like 10 plus years ago. But Oliveira suffered an eye word during that fight. He dislocated his shoulder, couldn't continue. So now is the much anticipated rematch 10 years down the line, where both of these guys have had, storied careers. I mean, Max Holloway, probably one of the best, if not the best, boxers in the UFC. Charles Oliveira, one of the more dangerous ground and submission games in the UFC, but he can also crack with his hands as well. It's going to be an amazing fight. I cannot wait to watch that one. And we'll definitely be covering it here on this channel as well, on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel on Saturday night. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you go ahead and leave a sub on this channel if you are new, like the video, so the algorithm can let you know when all the new stuff coming from PRP is dropping. But yeah, before we get into anything else, Alex, I do want to bring up who's here live in the live chat. Also, real quick, before we do that, replay gang. If you're not watching live right now, you're part of the hashtag replay gang, make sure you comment down below hashtag replay gang and leave your comments, questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever you got down below in the comments section. And be sure to like the video as well. Of course, that helps us out a ton, like my guy Alex said. But let's see. Let me get a shout out to who's here in the live chat. ISO, what up, ISO? We also got Taurus in the building as well. What up, Taurus? We got Glaucoma. What's going on, Glaucoma? I see Lisa is in the chat as well. Lisa says, "Hey, Alex, sudden death. Don't forget to set your clocks up this week." And oh, that's right. Is it daylight savings time? Is it ending or is it starting?
We're springing forward. So I'm not too sure how if it's starting or ending.
Yeah, I always get it mixed up. I always get it confused. Somebody throw it in the chat if you know whether or not it's daylight savings time is ending or if it's starting. But either way, this is the time where a seasonal depression ends, right? It's finally gonna stop getting dark at 5 p.m. It's gonna start getting dark around 8 p.m. It feels like you have so much more time in the day. Just mentally be aware of that and be present in your days and try to be more productive. I know I'm certainly gonna try to be with more sun, more energy being provided to us here on Earth. I'm gonna try to be more productive. So shout out to daylight savings time, whether or not it's ending or starting, we don't know, but it's a good time of year. It's a good time of year. We also have Stretch 52 in the chat, says salute fellas. Salute to you as well, brother. We got Zeke Hokage says PRP, what's good? What's going on, Zeke? I see you. I see King Wizard 617 is in the chat, says AJ Brown is going home to New England. Don't bring him to another offense that doesn't throw a lot. He has too much love for New England and Vrabel. We're going to get to that. Zach giving a shout out to AJ. We're getting Brown. We're going to get Brown. He's saying it. And then Lisa says absolutely no on AJ Brown, which is hilarious. We got a member in the house. We got Chris M in the chat. Says evening, y'all. Good evening, Chris. Appreciate you for coming through. Let me see who else is in here. Be More Gorillas 828 says, what are you guys talking about? I think we were just talking about daylight savings if you popped in at the wrong time. Mike is in the chat, another member. What's going on, Mike? Appreciate you for being a member here of the Rain Gang. And let me see. Khalil's in the chat and Kwame's in the chat. Giving a shout out. I don't want to miss anybody here. King Trent TV says, what's up, bros? What's going on, King Trent?
What's up?
Appreciate you for popping through. Let me see. And yeah, that's what we got right now. As you guys get in here, whether or not you're watching on Twitter, whether or not you're watching on YouTube, shout out to you wherever you may be watching, however you may be watching. This is the Purple Rain Podcast. Already over 100 people watching live. So, Alex, let's go ahead and pull ourselves into some reactionary stuff, right? Let's go ahead and do that here. Let me bring some stuff up on the screen. Here we go. So, real quick, Alex, before we really get into, what we came here to get into, I just wanted to drop some news on everybody. Okay. And this is near and dear to my heart. Your boy Sutton might be on the Ravens next season. Just saying. I might be playing for the Ravens. We might have one of our coveted Ravens giving me a shout out, putting in a good word for your boy.
Okay.
To back him up at running back. And that's Mr. Derrick Henry. I posted this video on Twitter earlier today. I want to throw it up on screen here. I was doing some sleds, sprints up a hill, right? Famously, like Derrick Henry does, and I added Derrick Henry. I said, hey, look, if boys need me, let me know. And Henry, he gave me a little strong arm emoji. So maybe he's going to put in a good word for your boy. You feel me? Maybe you might see Sutton toting that thing out the backfield. You never know. You just never know, right? So shout out to Derrick Henry. I thought it was really cool that he responded. Doesn't typically get funny? On Twitter. Go ahead.
That's funny as hell because he retweeted my video not too long ago. So that's interactions with both of us, and this man does not tweet. Derrick.
Hey.
Derrick.
Come on the pod, bro.
Come on now.
Henry, come on the pod, King. We got to get the King on the pod.
He's a member of the Nashville. He's of the soccer team. He's a member of that. Like he could probably fight in the UFC. Come on now, Derrick. Come on.
Yeah. There's lots to talk about. Lots to talk about with Derrick Henry, man. That's the King. Gonna be around in Baltimore for a while, man. That is our guy. So shout out to him. But again, this is what I was doing earlier today. You mentioned your heart rate being at like 125. My heart rate was like 180 minimum while I was doing this workout earlier today, Alex. I mean, these hill sprints with the sled on your back is no joke. And I haven't done anything like that in a while, so I got to get back to it. But I thought that was pretty funny. Your boy Sutton might be toting it out the backfield for the Ravens this upcoming fall. So make sure you stay on the lookout for that, man. Stay on the lookout for that. Again, shout out to everybody who's here in the live chat. Glaucoma says Sutton 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns confirmed. You already know, man. You already know. You already know how I'm coming. Um, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all, man. All right, but here we go. Here we go. Biggest news of the day, Alex. Biggest news of the day. Came, I think it was around like noonish, 1 o'clock, somewhere in there. The Buffalo Bills just got a little bit better. And I'm going to put it up on screen here. The Buffalo Bills now have DJ Moore. They acquired him in a trade earlier today, a trade with the Chicago Bears, obviously. And I want to toss this to Alex first and get his takes on it. I talked about it a little bit earlier today on Sudden Reactions, what I think about it. But I want to get your take on it after I tell you the compensation that was agreed upon. So the Buffalo Bills, they got DJ Moore and the 2026 fifth round pick, while the Chicago Bears got a 2026 second round pick in return. So basically, right? It was DJ Moore for a second round pick, you know. Um, what do you think about this trade, Alex? I mean, do you think it makes the Bills like exponentially better?
Yeah.
Do you think the compensation is worth it? What are you thinking about it?
Let me just stick to pure just like football players before the contracts. I think it does make them better. I think he's now obviously I think their best receiver on the roster. He'll help them out immensely. But come January of next year, he's gonna be called washed. He's gonna take the blame. He's gonna be the one who's gonna be at fault for Josh Allen fumbling or Josh Allen interceptions. Just fair warning. Fair warning. He's gonna be the scapegoat. All right, DJ. I'm sorry it had to be you, but you're the new scapegoat in Buffalo. But realistic, I think it is a good pickup for them. A good trade. Going to the money, they overpaid. The fact they're eating the whole contract and still give up a second round pick is insane. I think he's guaranteed. I want to say he's guaranteed 24 million this year. Or, yeah, 24 mil. His cap hit next year 24.5. The next 4 years is 24.5 million cap hit. That is insane. You gave a second round pick. Usually we see guys on bigger deals, and if you eat the contract, you give up maybe a fourth or a fifth, but a second. And especially for the Bills, I was like, I'm like, who are their free agents? Joey Bosa, Daquan Jones, Connor McGovern, starting center, David Edwards,
Yeah.
guard, AJ Epinesa, Matt Milano, Larry Ogunjobi. I'm looking right now. Those trenches. Those
They need
trenches.
help. They need some work.
And that's
It's
something I think we've been sorry, real quick. We've been
yeah, yeah.
harping on. We've been talking about just trenches. Could we use another receiver? We could. But trenches. Build them.
Yeah, yeah, it low key feels like a little bit of hustling backwards if you're the Bills, knowing that you have, these holes on your offensive line, defensive line. Going out and getting a DJ Moore, I get it. Look, I get it. Late in that game against Denver, it really didn't seem like Josh Allen had a whole lot of firepower, right, to really go down the field to pass catcher wise. So, uh, I understand wanting to have that guy who can be a possession receiver, even a deep threat sometimes. He can step on the gas. He's low key to me. DJ Moore to me is like, I think this is fair to say, kind of like a poor man's AJ Brown in a way, right? Not quite on the same level, but kind of has a similar skill set. I think his game does travel to January. I think it translates to January, and I think that's what the Bills had in mind. I mean, you really just need one go-to wide receiver, right, for Josh Allen. If Josh Allen's not going to get something done with his legs, if he can have somebody like a DJ Moore who can uncover, right, and he can be reliable, on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, things like that, then maybe that's all they're looking for. But like you mentioned before, they do have some much bigger fish to fry, with the offensive line having guys leaving. I mean, Connor McGovern, again, that's the guy who I want the Ravens to sign out of free agency, especially if Linderbaum goes. So there's going to, and there's also, not to mention, there's a ton of teams that are looking for a center. So whoever loses out on Tyler Linderbaum, there's going to be other guys in the mix, like Tyler Biadish and a bunch of other guys, right? A bunch of other guys they're going to be looking at. So I don't know. Some people were mad about this though. Ravens fans were mad about this. I see Jay the Six in the chat says EDC is just sitting on his hands again. And I saw somebody say earlier, I think it was my guy Stretch 52. At this point, all EDC doing is reading recipes. Are we letting moves just kind of pass us by, Alex? I mean, how does this make you feel about the Ravens? Because we need
Yeah.
another wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked DJ Moore because he's from Maryland. Like he went to Maryland. I would always love getting a Turple on the team, but I didn't look at this and say, man, like we could have done that because we were never going to give up a second round pick and eat the whole contract. This put the Bills in negative cap. They now have to make cap moves to get under the cap. Free agency starts next week. So I'm like, if I would have done this, I kind of wouldn't have been. I would have been happy, but it's not like this is makes the Super Bowl contender. As for the Ravens, though, we know it has to be done. You have to extend your quarterback. Where that's at right now, I don't know. I don't know, and I expected this because we never know what's going on with Lamar. That's kind of the beauty and the curse. You never know his next move. That shit could be signed right now, part of my language, and we wouldn't know. Or it could be next month. We don't know. That's priority number one, and the fact they don't have it done, it worries me a bit. It hasn't been keeping me up at night, but as the days go on, man, I do get a little bit nervous because you have to get
Yeah,
it done. Because we've talked about this. You can't go into phase one of free agency when you're this strong the cap. You just can't do it. You can't sign the best guys out there. It
that's
just won't
true.
happen.
That's true. You can't. And I want to get to Lamar Jackson in a second because I do have some things to say and reiterate really about him and his whole contract situation. But like you mentioned here with the Buffalo Bills, and I didn't know this, so thank you for letting me know this. I mean, I didn't know that this move here put the Bills over the cap, right? So they're gonna have to make some moves to work their way back under, especially if they want to make any more moves in free agency. I'm sure there's gonna be some guys who are like cap casualties that'll maybe naturally get them under that line here in a couple of days. But they're gonna want to sign some more guys. I'm sure. I mean, they also have their rookies coming in. You're gonna have to sign those guys too, and I don't know what other contract situations they have to deal with, but they've got their work cut out for them for sure. And them taking on, I think you said a $24 million cap hit for DJ Moore. I think what that means is that Joe Brady, who actually, fun fact, was the offensive coordinator for DJ Moore when they were both in Carolina. And in that year, DJ Moore had one of his better years, one of his best years in the league, 1,000-yard receiver that year as well, and had some a good amount of touchdowns. Don't quote me, but I want to say about 10 touchdowns. Uh, could be wrong there in those years with Carolina, or in that one year with Carolina. But anyway, I think it's a good fit, but I think you're going to see a concerted effort from Joe Brady to get DJ Moore involved simply because of how much they're spending on him. Right? It only makes sense to make him the first read on pretty much every possession. You got to go out there knowing like, hey, look, we got to get DJ Moore a target. Right? We're paying him too much. He put us over the cap. Right? I mean, outside of him, we've got Khalil Shakir, and that's another thing I wanted to ask you about, Alex. I mean, are you really afraid of the weaponry that is the Buffalo Bills pass catchers and backs? I mean, you're looking at James Cook, you're looking at now DJ Moore, you're looking at Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox, and Dalton Kincaid. Does that still really scare you as a Ravens fan?
I just pulled out their depth chart. So here we go. Josh Allen, James Cook, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer, DJ Moore, Tyrell Shavers, and Cookie Monster. I mean, that's not top five. James Cook is a damn good running back, don't get me wrong. But receiving wise, like the Bears had one of their better seasons when DJ Moore wasn't the featured guy in the offense. And I'm just gonna leave that there. Had Rome, Luther Burden. He put up 650, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But Ben Johnson said, you know what? We got this guy named Colston Loveland. Used a little bit of Cole Kmet, a little bit of Swift, a little bit of Burden, a little bit of Rome. And it worked out pretty good for him. Now, don't get me wrong, DJ Moore stepped up in the playoff games, but with the Bills, he could be open and Josh Allen's just going to run. He's not going to throw it to him. So it doesn't really scare me like other teams do. Like, hell, thankfully the Bengals don't have a defense because we see what against Jamar Chase. We see what happens. I think with the right defense, we'll be fine. We let Keon Coleman have a career game against us last year because we had a Zach Orr defense. I don't think that'll happen this year. So with the new guys coming in, no, it doesn't keep me up at night like other offenses.
Yeah. And that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think that the Bills are still going to, and here's the beautiful thing about it as a Ravens fan, right? And this is just the hater in me, right, Alex? But like the beautiful thing about it is that like DJ Moore is going to make make the excuses a lot less plausible for Josh Allen here going forward. It's like, oh nope, you got a number one wide receiver. right? A lot of people revere DJ Moore as like a number one wide receiver, if not a very, very, very high end two, right? So it's like you got guys, you got James Cook, you got DJ Moore. What's your excuse, bro? You know, that's the beautiful thing. And like I mentioned, like or like you mentioned before, I don't really see the Bills. If I were a betting man, which I tend to be sometimes, I'm not favoring the Bills no matter really what happens in the draft, what happens in free agency. I'm not favoring the Bills to make a Super Bowl next year. I'm not. But all the pressure is going to be on the Bills and the Ravens, for that matter, to finally get over that hump. I still don't see it happening. And this DJ Moore move, it doesn't move the needle a whole lot for me. And I think it's a lot better for, like you mentioned, the Bears who saw success, like what you meant with you, who you mentioned, Luther Burden, rookie, tore it up. You know, Roma Dunze had some really, really good moments last season. Like you mentioned, Colston Loveland and Komet, they've got a nucleus there. And of course, Caleb Williams making that whole thing go. Just got rid of or no, they didn't get rid of Manungai, did they? They didn't get rid of
No,
Manungai.
so
They
him
still
and
have yeah, they still have Swift and Manungai. I mean, they've got a talented roster over in Chicago, right? I know they just kind of got a little bit of a brain drain with Declan Doyle leaving and relinquishing him to us, but Ben Johnson, I know he's got all bases covered, man. They're going to be dangerous for a long time to come, and this trade really only helps them.
tell you what, speaking of, I really like Colston Loveland. I really like him with the Bears. He's a damn good tight end. Like that first round pick is looking better and better for them. But back to the Bills, yeah, I'm not really like. Are they going to win their division? Do we think the Bills win the AFC East? Because we're talking about Super Bowl here. Do they win their division? The Patriots now they're
Yeah,
freeing up cap with the whole Dig stuff. They have a
yeah,
MVP candidate quarterback who just got them to the Super Bowl. Granted, obviously, didn't work out the way it should. I mean, their defense, they have a good defense. Mike Vrabel now has that juice. Like you want to go play for him. I think AJ Brown
yeah.
will be a Patriot. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
I think they might win again. Obviously, a tougher schedule, but that the Jets and Dolphins are just soft as baby shit. You know, it's I just think the Patriots will take it again, but that's just me. But yeah, focus on winning the division first before we talk about Super Bowl. I guess Buffalo.
That's fair. That's fair. And, you know, I see people in the chat talking about, well, at least the Bills, you know, they took the swing, they took the chance, right? They had a hole, they addressed it, you know, and we wish that the Ravens could go out and they can do some of those things, like be proactive, go get that wide receiver you really want, or go get that edge rusher, more importantly, that you really want. That defensive lineman, John Franklin Myers, as you guys know, is at the top of my wish list in free agency. I don't really know how, you know, possible that's looking right now, but you guys get my point. The Ravens have not made a big swing yet, and that's largely because, you know, Lamar Jackson's $74 million cap hit looms large over their heads. And I don't know if you guys remember, but Steve Bisciotti said a couple of months ago, or maybe almost 2 months ago, that he wanted to get this thing done, this Lamar deal done before free agency and definitely before April, right? So it's just one of those things where it's fast forward again a month and a half later, it's still not done. We have to really ask ourselves why. I want to toss it to you, Alex. Why do you think, with only 4 days to go until free agency opens, and the Ravens, you know, they want to have money in their pocket? Why do you think that the Ravens have not gotten this deal with Lamar Jackson done yet to date?
If I'm him, why should I sign? He's making his money this year. He just had his worst, if we want to say worst, because we saw what we were without him, year statistically in a while. He doesn't really hold the cards. Like he doesn't. If he were to ask for more money, the Ravens can push back and say, "Look what you did last year. You got hurt," and they can use the whole "I
Well, wait,
word."
no, I disagree though, because Lamar, he holds all the cards. He holds nine.
So
I
he
put
doesn't
it
have
like
to
this
sign.
yesterday.
If
I
he
mean, he
were to,
doesn't have to. That's
yeah,
the
he doesn't
thing.
have to.
Like,
If he were to go to the table, what's he gaining out of it?
right.
Like
And
what?
that's what I'm saying. Like he's got, and that's interesting you say that because he's got like all the cards. Like I said, like I said this yesterday on Quiet Storm. If you had to imagine like 10 cards in the negotiation tactics, right? Whoever has the most cards has the most leverage in the negotiation. I think Lamar Jackson has 9 out of the 10 cards, right? The Ravens have the one card of leverage on their side, basically saying, hey, look, Ravens are coming off of a down year, right? Lamar Jackson had 21 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He missed 4.5 games. That's like the one card they have. Other than that, Lamar Jackson's like, I'm still under contract for the next 2 seasons, right? I'm a 2-time, should be 3-time MVP. I got hurt. That explains why we didn't look that good. My offensive line was dog shit, especially the interior of that offensive line. He's got a bunch of cards to hold. You can't trade me, you can't cut me, right? He's got everything right now. So it's just like it's to me again, like you mentioned, you're right, Alex. You're absolutely right. He does not have to come to the table and talk to them right now. He could easily bet on himself like he normally does and say, I know you guys, it takes two to tango. You guys want to tango right now? I'm not ready to. I want to go out next year. I want to go scorched earth, remind you guys who the hell I am, and then I'm going to come to you with a blank check, right? And I'm going to have my amount already written on it. Because right now, y'all on some bullshit. Let me get to some super chats really quick. Alex, we got two of them here in the chat. This one's coming from Eli Sports Guy, dropping the 10 piece in the chat. Appreciate you, Eli. Making it rain here. It says, EDC better get in the lab. What are we waiting for? Go get A.J. Brown for a second and Bateman. Our current receivers don't scare anyone besides Zay Flowers. EDC cannot draft a second round to save his life anyway. Alex, you want to take this one?
Second and Bateman is nowhere near enough. If DJ Moore just got a second round pick, the Eagles are going to win a first and probably a second or a third for sure. Um, a second just got you a guy who had 680 yards last year and 6 touchdowns. AJ Brown has shown you in the biggest games, and he had a year last year. But look at the whole Eagles offense and Eagles OC. That was DJ Moore with Ben Johnson, so it's going to take a lot more than that. I would like for us to go out there, but I just don't want us to go and get a guy to say, "Oh, we got a guy." Like I want to get a guy that can fit and bring me something we don't have. What kind of pissed me off is like off topic, like Lamar with Hollywood and Tutu Atwell. Are we not tired of that prototype of receiver? Are we?
That's what I've been saying for years,
Are we
Alex.
not? Like, and like, does he take some blame for like kind of working out? Like, ED's like, well, you're working out with these guys. I'll get you that same type of build. I'm tired of seeing that. And good on him for working with those guys. But please, like, get me a guy over 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2". That's what I'm waiting for. DJ Moore 6 foot even. I will like to get somebody. I just don't know who. I mean, you're gonna have to give up a lot. We know EDC won't give up a first round pick for. So AJ Brown, that wish, I think you can just wave it goodbye. It's not gonna happen. I feel like.
It's tough. It's tough. And we'll touch on that in just a minute here. But thank you so much, Eli, for your super chat donation. We appreciate you making it rain here on this episode 384 of PRP. We have another one coming in from Pick Six Flipper. Thank you so much, making it rain as well with the 2-piece in the chat. Says underplaying this move, bro. Made it with Fields. I guess talking about DJ Moore. And like I said, I mean, he might not be regarded as like a top receiver in 2026, but I think in the right situation, I think that he could definitely he can make some noise. I definitely think he can make some noise. He's a talented guy, Maryland guy. I wanted the Ravens to go out and get him. We talked about that a couple of episodes ago. Ends up with the Bills, but I do still think that the Bears came out winning that trade.
Yeah, I think so too. Like they were able to offload that contract, and now they're in the Max Crosby talks. They may have just offloaded DJ Moore to get some more money, got a second round pick that they could flip that into one of the premier edge rushers in the league. That could be a good trade off right there. And I see we're talking about the whole with made it with Fields. No disrespect. He put up his best year. They went 7-10. Like you're playing from behind. He's not going to put up his 1,300 yards with Josh Allen. They're going to be ahead. I feel like most games, or if they're playing from behind, I think Allen's going to be running for yards. He won't be getting that type of volume. It's good on them, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be what we think it is. I think Kwame can bring the AJ Amari Cooper. When they traded for Cooper, like people were talking it up, and Amari Cooper did jack there. Didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I still think I think it helps the Bills.
Yeah.
It's a net positive for sure. But again, with what the Bears got going on right now, and you getting a second rounder for DJ Moore, and you're already set up with two solid receivers, a good pair of backs as well, and some tight ends that can go out there and make shit happen. Man, the Bears are going to be they're going to be a danger for a couple of years to come. Until they have to pay Caleb Williams $80 million a year or whatever it's going to cost by the time he's up for his extension, right? For his new contract, rather, they're going to be sitting pretty. Now, anything else you had on Lamar? Because again, this is something that a lot of people have been talking about. People have been saying like time is ticking for them to
Yeah.
get this job, for them to get the deal done with Lamar. The extension, like you mentioned, maybe they already have it done and it's just under wraps right now. They don't want to kind of show their cards to the league. Maybe they don't want the rest of the league to think that they are legitimate players in free agency. That way, some other teams maybe let their guards down, let some players slip through the cracks to the Ravens. We don't know, right? But if we had to go off of what information we have right now currently, it's looking more so like they are going to kick the can down the road and restructure Lamar Jackson's contract and bring that 74.5, I think it is, $1 million cap hit this year down to what, 38 million or something like that. So saving them millions and tens of millions of dollars in cap, which would give them opportunity to go out and sign guys in free agency and actually make moves. So we got to wait and see what happens. But I think it's 95%. If I had to make a bet somewhere, I'd say it's 95% likely that they're going to go ahead and restructure. No?
It's looking that way, and I actually brought up the quarterback contracts right now and the highest paid. You want to know some of the guys above Lamar right now that are making more per year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what are we talking? We talking Trevor Lawrence? We talking Dak Prescott? We talking Kyler Murray? We're talking Justin
Kyler, no.
Herbert, right?
Kyler,
No,
no.
not Kyler.
Kyler is
Justin, well,
46.1.
Tua, right?
Tua, yes. Herbert, yes. Brock Purdy.
Purdy, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
else?
So
That
it
it?
goes here. So Lamar's at 52. And I'm going to go
Hmm.
Justin Herbert's 52.5. Brock Purdy, 53. Jared Goff,
Hmm.
53. Tua, 53.1. Trevor, Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, all 55. And then Dak, 60.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, guys, for Lamar Jackson to only have signed his contract, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Um, and now he went from the first, like the highest paid quarterback in the league to now what, the 10th highest paid quarterback or something like that? Somewhere in there, right? In that ballpark. I think he knows going into his second negotiation with the Ravens, okay, I'm not going to let what happened to me last time happen this time. Yeah, I became the highest paid annually by 1 million over Jalen Hurts, who was making 51. I signed for 52. But then right after that, you got guys making 53, 55, 60. You know what I mean? Like this time around, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm thinking this way. No, I'm going to wait and I'm going to strike the iron when it's at its hottest, right? So that means after next year, I'm banking on myself being a winner again. Here goes the betting on myself thing. I'm going to go out there, put up MVP numbers, and then I'm going to demand 65 million plus because what Lamar Jackson will be damned to do, he'll be damned if, he signs an extension now, say for 61, 62 million, right? A year, just for next year, if the Texans have a good year and CJ Stroud gets paid 65, 66, or if Bryce Young has a decent year and he's getting paid buku amounts of money, right? I don't think Lamar Jackson wants to be sitting in that position again because it just doesn't even feel right. Like he's better than all those guys. Realistic, all the guys we just named, outside of maybe a select few, you can argue about Josh Allen, right? But pretty much anybody else on that list, Lamar Jackson has got him beat. And I think Lamar Jackson wants to feel like the highest paid player for more than 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it's always been. Look at Joe. Joe was the highest paid quarterback after he had his Super Bowl run. And then
Yeah.
think of that era of quarterbacks. You had your Rodgers at his peak, obviously Brady, Manning, all of those guys, and it was Joe Flacco, the highest paid quarterback. That's just the name of the game. I think he's not looking to make the most. I think he's the most average. I think he could take a 3-year deal, maybe 3-year, 200 mil. That right
Yeah.
there, that takes you to the highest average per year.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. I think that players, and I said this yesterday on Quiet Storm as well, I think that players are prioritizing shorter deals with
Mhm.
more money. You know what I mean? As opposed to like these longer deals that has the money broken up over
Yep.
5, 6 years. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes gave the Chiefs a sweetheart deal a couple of years ago.
I,
Sweetheart, 500 million, kick the
I
can down
remember
the
that.
road for 10 years. Yeah, go ahead.
That was the peak of 22. I will never forget that. I was in a parking lot during prime of COVID and it said Mahomes 10 years, $500 million. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like what? But
Crazy,
it's
crazy
worked
stuff.
out. They're able to move the money around. He's still getting paid. I mean, he's making good money
Yeah.
off advertisements, everything. But they struggle with that deal because I
They
know
do.
they're in cap hell, but they worked their way out of it. Restructure this guy, cut this guy, cut this guy. We're good. We're like 25, 30 under the cap. It's crazy, crazy man.
Yeah. You want to take this super chat donation here?
Yeah, it says just by y'all's logic, then if Lamar don't want to sign, then the Ravens can't make dramatic moves to make the O or D better. So why don't y'all have an issue with that if y'all flame EDC can't have it both ways? I feel like this is kind of the whole negotiation thing. I mean, both sides know what they want. If Lamar were to sign, it makes it easier for the Ravens to sign
Yeah.
more players to in turn help him out. Lamar kind of staying put, keeping his money, not having a contract, he's good. But the Ravens like, all right, cool, you want to do that? We can convert that to make you have a 38 million cap hit this year. You'll still get your money, but if you have a bad year, now they hold more of the cards, which that won't happen, by the way. It sucks. I mean, I'm not flaming EDC. I wouldn't give up a second round pick for DJ Moore and eat the contract, just letting you know. But it goes both ways. It does. And we're trying to be, I guess, down in the middle we can. I see both sides, but I just would like for them to both get to a deal and just kind of end this saga because it's tiring. Like we were just
Yeah,
in this
and
boat not too long ago.
yeah, it definitely feels like it wasn't too long ago we were in this exact same debacle, right, with Lamar Jackson going back and forth with the Ravens on a new contract. But eh, I think that, like you mentioned something very important. Like you have to see it from both sides because that's just how business works, guys. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I mean, the best interest. I get it as a fan. The best interest is in the team, right, not the player, because you want your team. We want the Ravens to win a Super Bowl, right? We want the Baltimore Ravens to win a Super Bowl. And in order to help make that happen, Lamar Jackson does have to sacrifice him being, a contractor for the Ravens, right? He has to sacrifice just a little bit of what he would want, even though he is the cream of the crop of that organization. He is, he's the start, the finish, the alpha and the omega. He's everything for the Baltimore Ravens, right? It starts and finishes it with him. You know, he's got leverage, and that's just business. I think a lot of guys don't take Lamar Jackson for as good of a businessman as he is. He's really a genius. Like the way he moves, he's not just going to go and settle for anything. He's just not. And I mentioned this on Twitter earlier today. Like, not everybody is a psycho like Tom Brady and is just willing to give up, whatever it takes to get as much talent on the roster as possible, which, is commendable to him because it's like, he's helping out his team, which in turn helps out the fans. So everybody just loves it. Right. But Lamar Jackson, he's looking out for his best interest. And when can you really be mad at him for doing that? You just can't. That's like, I don't know, shareholders for the company that you work for, right? Being mad at you because you didn't take a little bit less money that could have gotten dumped back into the company. It's like, no, I'm going to take care of me and mine first, especially if I'm the one who makes the wheels turn in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's how Lamar Jackson is looking at it. But I get what you're saying here, Jeremy. I mean, do I wish that Lamar Jackson would be like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take significantly less money because I'm already a multimillionaire and I'm just going to make sure that the Ravens have all the money they need to get their business done. Right? That'd be great. Right? But we live in reality. Where this is a job for these people,
And the whole Tom Brady thing, the sacrifices, that guy sacrificed his own marriage. He's one of one.
Oh
One of
yeah.
one. He came back.
Psycho.
Yeah, he came back to play with a washed up Bucks team to a point. Like you knew they weren't going to win the Super Bowl. He just loved the game that much. He said, "F my family, F my marriage. I'm playing for another year," and he did it. There's no one else like him. And the move, what you make is like, well, if you take less, you have better people like using it in like real world logic. It's like, well, I want to get paid more, and if I have to work with lesser talented guys, I'm still making money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They're making theirs, so I see it. I 100% see it. So we just want to get it done, but it just we don't know anything as well. That kind of
And
there's no like
and
reports coming out on like other teams.
right. And I could see if like the Ravens were actually strapped for cash. If Steve
Yeah.
Bisciotti didn't have it. I know the salary cap exists, but guess what, guys? The salary cap is only going up and up and up every single year, right? Every single year we get that notification from Adam Schefter or Ari Myrov where they're saying, hey, yeah, salary cap's
Yeah.
going up another 10 million, another 20 million, right? I mean, the league is growing and these players see that as well. They want a piece of that pie. And who are we to say that, like, they got to be more selfless and less selfish and take pay cuts, especially when it's really just quarterbacks who we all know they run the show. It's one of the most difficult jobs in sports. They deserve every penny, man, especially the ones who make it happen each and every Sunday. But thank you so much, Jeremy, for your super chat donation. Let's move on here. We got another super chat donation from Gerald. What's going on, Gerald? G Money in the house, dropping the 7 in the
7.
chat, man. The 7, I mean that
He's still
coveted
on this
7.
7 nonsense. Still on
He
this 7.
is. He is.
It's lucky
He is.
sevens.
Go ahead and take this one though, Alex.
He said, "We have a receiver we could use, and his name is Likely, but it's likely he won't be playing this season as a Raven. He won't. He won't be playing, and the Ravens did extend Mark Andrews midseason, but they also offered Isaiah Likely a contract before the year, and he turned it down. So it goes both ways. I would love to have him back, but if he's asking for 15 plus million, we've agreed right now we want to get the O line better, D line better. It's like, do you want to have Lele still playing O line? I don't. It sucks to see him go, but the Ravens do have a history of drafting and developing pretty damn good tight ends. They can get him in the 4th or 5th round. He's a clutch guy who makes big plays, but he did turn down the contract before the season, and he's now out of our price range. That's how it works. Somebody will pay him that money, but it will not be us. It'll
Yeah.
be a team with a lot more cap than us, with a younger quarterback that's nowhere near as good as Lamar. But I love Likely. I wish him the best, and I hope he does great things. I really do. He's been nothing but a great teammate, a great player. Stepped in when Andrews went down, did a damn good job. Thank you, number 80.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, he's another guy who deserves his pay. He deserves his just due, and he deserves his opportunity, as a legitimate tight end one, right? It felt like for years, even when Likely was doing his thing, it felt like he was still a third and fourth option when he really should have been like that 1-2 punch. Zay Flowers or whatever wide receiver one you want to plug in there, and then Isaiah Likely. You know what I mean? Like, get this guy the ball, because when the ball was in his hands, good things tended to happen, right? Like, great things tended to happen. I mean, one of the plays that gets kind of glossed over because it didn't end up being a scoring play. Bengals, Thanksgiving night. Remember where he takes it like, what was that, like 50 yards or something like that, but then gets it knocked out at the very end. There's another play where, the Steelers, where if he catches that touchdown, which he catches it, takes 2, almost 3 steps, extending the ball forward, and they reverse that call. There's just so many times. I mean, we can talk about literally to save the season against the Steelers, 4th and 7, going deep, Likely high points the ball, right? You can talk about against the Bills in the divisional last year. Catches that deep ball from Lamar Jackson before the big Mark Andrews drop. I mean, Isaiah Likely has done so much. And, he deserves to go somewhere where, like I said, he's going to get paid, and B, he's going to be a number 2 or number 1 option, dare I say, at least as a tight end. So
Yeah, I mean, you think about big moments, and guys probably one of the more unlucky players. I'd say the whole Chiefs, the foot, the Bengals,
ah,
and the Steelers. It's
yeah.
like one thing after another, unlucky after unlucky after unlucky. But go on to Carolina, go back to where you went to college, go be with a nice young quarterback and Bryce Young, and see how it works out. That's kind of where I'm hoping he goes out of the AFC. Don't really want to play him that much. Go over
Yeah, me
there.
neither.
They're
Me
up and
neither.
coming. I don't know what that division's looking like anymore. The NFC South. I mean, you have a great chance to make the playoffs, and what Panthers just made it this year. Going to up and coming team. There you go.
Yeah.
Eli here says trade Roquan for Zaire Franklin. Culture trading him. I don't think anybody's taking that contract like the DJ Moore. I don't think.
What's his contract? What's Zaire's contract?
Let me take a look.
Because I mean, Zaire, I think he's what, 30 years old, but
3 years, 31 mil.
consistently 3 years, 31 mil, and he's 30, right?
He is 30, correct. He is 30. And
Okay.
this year would be an 8.2 cap hit, and then next year it would be a 10.2 million cap hit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would love Zaire Franklin on this team. I think he is one of those dogs, right? He's like a Roquan. Because how old is Roquan, really quick? Do you know?
I think he's 27, I believe.
Yeah, and that's so crazy to me. That's why it's so crazy, because it feels like Zaire Franklin,
28.
28. Zaire Franklin, it feels like he's better than Roquan Smith. Like, from what I've seen and like from what I've known, like, he makes more of an impact on that defense than Roquan Smith makes for the Ravens defense, And for Roquan to be the younger guy with the much bigger contract, it's just like it just kind of redisgusts me with the whole Roquan Smith situation, and why I'm praying to the Holy Father, right, who art in heaven, that Jesse Minter and Anthony Weaver can get Roquan Smith back to the level we know Roquan Smith should be at, and doing more than just freaking filling an A gap or a B gap to stop a running back, right? We need to see him actually causing havoc in the middle intermediate area of that field, right? Stop getting burned over the middle. Like, let's get this guy into shape, right? So he can run around and make plays and be more athletic. Of course, that has a lot to do with who's playing who's playing that weak inside linebacker position. But whether it is Teddy Buchanan, whether it's Trenton Simpson, listen, man, I need Roquan Smith to start being Roquan Smith again.
Especially with what you're getting paid. I saw a report possibly the Niners would trade Fred Warner. To me, who he's far and away the best linebacker in the league, Fred Warner. You know, they wouldn't do a 1-for-1. I'll take Fred Warner if they want Roquan Smith in a heartbeat. Eli here says Zaire is 29, Roquan is 28.
Yeah, real close in age, real close in age. But again, I look at Zaire Franklin as a dog. Great personality, by the way. I've heard him on a couple of different podcasts. He's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Listen, guys, 273 people watching live right now across platforms. Shout out to you guys. This is the Purple Rain Podcast, a Baltimore Ravens centric podcast. We do go live every Monday and Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time to cover all things Baltimore Ravens and National Football League as well. We also have a daily show on this channel called Quiet Storm Sports, where I deliver to you daily sports content in a live format. So if all that sounds good to you, you're enjoying the content you're currently listening to, please go ahead, like the video, subscribe, follow whatever platform you're watching on. We'd appreciate it. We thank you so much for coming through to this episode 384 of the Purple Rain podcast. And thank you so much for everybody who super chatted tonight, making it rain here on the Purple Rain podcast. We truly do appreciate that. Speaking of 84, I didn't mention this at the top of the show, Alex, but do you remember the early parts of this past season when Zaire Mitchell-Payton was a staple of this offense? And do you remember just how nasty that was? And the Ravens kept trotting this guy out there like he's like, oh yeah, this is it right here, right? A tight end. We're gonna have him play the Patrick Ricard role. Now, what worries me, Alex, before you answer, is that Declan Doyle will in a heartbeat utilize a tight end like a Zaire Mitchell-Payton to do the same sort of things that Pat Ricard is doing, because he wants more playmakers on the field. I guess that's his philosophy. What do you think, really quick, is the future of Pat Ricard in this Ravens offense?
That's a good question. I mean, he is a free agent. This year. And he didn't really touch on it, because I remember in Todd Monken's presser when he first became the OC, they brought up Pat Ricard. They brought up how he was going to use him. They didn't really bring up anything about Ricard in that press conference. So that is interesting. I mean, I'll have to look and see at their and see if they really use a fullback like that. What was their percentage of a fullback on the field, if they even use one? The Bears.
I don't think they did. That's the thing. I think Declan Doyle is kind of known for not using a fullback and using a tight end in that kind of role, right? So that's what
Yeah.
kind of scares me, because us as Ravens fans, we all know the importance of Pat Ricard. Hell, I mean, Derrick Henry, you can just ask him. You know, I think somebody needs to have a conversation. Declan Doyle or King Henry needs to hit up Declan Doyle and be like, hey, big dog, look, I know you want to come in here and implement your system on this offense, and I'm cool with that. But can we please find a way? This is me advocating to bring back Pat Ricard, because he's the guy oftentimes that gets me to the second level and beyond. Right. So if you want big boy touchdowns out of me in year number 31, I think Derrick Henry's like 31, 32, somewhere in that range, right? Then let's keep Pat Ricard. I think we should definitely keep him. Now the worry is that, he's been kind of banged up past couple of years, right? Started this season off, it was a little bit shaky, a little weird. Was out the first month and a half or something like that, and nobody really knew exactly what was going on. Harbaugh was low-key throwing him under the bus, like, oh, he's been ready. It's a matter of when he's ready, sort of thing. I'm so glad Harbaugh's gone.
You mentioned the Zaire Mitchell-Payton. Like, this guy rarely had any NFL experience, and that thing, John, threw him out there in high leverage situations, expecting him to block guys. And listen, unlike he would do with Emory Jones, maybe throw him in for a couple of snaps when Emory finally got his chance. He just throw him in for damn near a high percentage of plays. It's like he kind of forced him on us like a Daniel Falele, like, and that was like it felt like another one of his projects. This was another hardball project. It felt like, and it didn't work, and they parted ways with him. But you saw how it went. It was not good whatsoever until Ricard came back. So I think they'll bring him back. I want to say I feel like Henry. He probably talked to the guys and they would advocate for him. But yeah, I just like that the Bears didn't really deploy a out and out fullback. It was a tight end blocking in the backfield. And great ones here says people are coming for 8. They legit put the worst line in the league around him this year, and you want him to trust EDC. We played Moneyball with our O line, and it cost us. Fitting this came up, and it's part of the number 77. Yeah, it's now we have to get both guards in the center under contract,
Yeah.
all because of that awful building of a line.
Yeah,
Awful.
it just that experiment, that Harbaugh experiment at guard, center guard. I mean, can't even really say much about Linderbaum. I mean, I have my quarrels with him in his performances this past season, but for the most part, we recognize Tyler Linderbaum as a top 3, top 4 center in the National Football League. But the guard combo, having a young guy out there in Andrew Voorhees who was not proven, did not have to fight for his job at all. Right. I get it. Emory Jones was hurt going into training camp and stuff like that. So we didn't really get a proper battle for the left guard spot. It just was kind of given to Andrew Voorhees. And then right guard, of course, was just Falele's to lose. And he wasn't losing it no matter what he did. It's going to be interesting to see what they do this year. Now, I also agree with what the great ones are saying here. And by the way, thank you so much for the $10 donation,
Thank
making it rain here on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. And this is what I've been saying, Alex. Like, why should Lamar Jackson trust EDC in the Ravens? Why should he have so much trust? You guys remember that trust, right? Seems like so long ago now, to be honest with you. What an era. But anyways, why would he trust EDC in the Ravens to do right by him or, get him weapons and whatnot when literally when they had him for the first 5 years of his career on the cheap, they consistently cheaped out and got him receivers like, Odell Beckham Jr., who I know is your guy, Alex, but I'm sorry, he was kind of washed at the time. You know what I mean? They got him Dez Bryant, they got him Deshaun Jackson, they got him like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what were they doing? So I think Lamar has no reason to say, "Oh yeah, let me give some money back to the Ravens, right? Let me relinquish some of this money because I know y'all are gonna do the right things with it." I know he doesn't think that. He doesn't believe that. So I totally get that. And then the great ones. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean every dollar counts. That's what he said out of his mouth. out of the main man's mouth, Lamar said every dollar counts, and boy, that could not be more true because we definitely see it. And I think one thing I can push back is maybe EDC is like, well, that was John. Those were John's guys we had to keep. He didn't want us to bring in competition for Lele, and he could just kind of scapegoat John. And I don't know if that's happening, but maybe that's one thing he is doing. But I agree with him there. Like, why would you trust a guy who had you on your ass a lot last year, who got you hurt with the line you put out there, who got you hit with that, had you putting up 40 points in the game, and they still lost because of blown leads? You know what I mean?
And
You had the lead in
yeah,
multiple games, blowing them.
and
You were
I
points.
I think the excuse, the whole Eric DeCosta, like, oh, he can just put it on John Harbaugh. Those were his guys' excuse. That's a crock of shit. Like, let's just be real here. I mean,
I hope he's not doing
you
that.
like it, if that's, I hope not too, because if that were the case, it's like, okay, what the fuck is your job then? Right?
Correct.
As the general manager, you're supposed to be the one working with the scouts. I know it's not all his job to be grinding tape on college players and grinding tape on potential free agents and trade prospects and stuff like that. But damn it, you're the one who's going to be making the final decisions. So you should be well versed on what's going on, right? And you should have the final say. So I know him and John were looked at as like on the same level in terms of like power, right? According to Steve Bisciotti. But at a certain point, man, like I think like you mentioned on the last episode of the show, Alex, I mean, you got to sack up at some point.
Yeah.
Put your nuts on the table and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is what we're not doing. Right. Be that Don DaCosta like we thought you could be. So I mean, I hope that wouldn't be his excuse, right? I'm not saying it is,
Yeah.
but I would pray it's not.
And kind of just going back to EDC, he's not in the chat right now. Sam, we were talking about it. And DeCostas, I think, had six full NFL like drafts. How many hits on day 3 has he had? And we were talking about kind of trading up picks, and this is kind of where my gripe comes with him, because this has been I've seen, maybe day 2 could be loaded with guys. We have how many 4th-round picks? Try to make some moves, and this is speaking from experience. We had 6 4th-round picks one time. We used every single goddamn pick. I would like to see us be more aggressive and try to get one up and maybe get a guy, because our day 3 picks, it feels like, just play a couple snaps in the preseason. Goodbye, you're gone. Go to a different team.
Yeah.
You're no use here.
It's like,
And that's
what are they really worth?
Garrett Dillinger.
I
There you
hate
go.
it.
Last year's 7th-round pick is on his 3rd team. He got snatched up by the Titans, I believe, as an exclusive rights free agent, and he was just a 7th-round pick last year.
Insane. Alex, let me bring something to you really quick, if you don't mind. Let's go ahead and transition back over to our screen share here. We got a couple other things
Mm.
to touch on here on this episode 384 of PRP. Please be sure, if you have not already and you are enjoying the content, please like the video. Like the video, guys. It is free, costs you nothing, right? But it helps us out a ton and helps us to continue to deliver you great Ravens content. Also, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new and you have not subscribed yet. Go ahead, take a little second, hit that sub button. It's going to pop up with your name in the chat saying you did so. We'd appreciate that, as we have almost 300 people watching live right now. We also know a lot of you guys are watching live on Twitter. A lot of you guys are watching live on X. If you are, make sure you give me a follow on X. It should be coming from my account here. And then make sure to go on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel and give us a sub there, because that is where we primarily go live, and that is where you can join our interactive chat, as you see, like the people we're bringing up here on screen. Also, great ones. Thank you so much for your super chat donations, making it rain here. We talked about the whole Pat Ricard thing and the offensive line, how that needs to get straight. But what we're looking at right here on screen, guys, is the most expensive wide receiver rooms in 2026 as it stands right now. And let me just expand this list, because the Ravens ain't going to be in no top 10. Hell, they're not even going to be in the top 20. As a matter of fact, the Ravens have the 29th most expensive wide receiver room in the league at $13.9 million, right? Now, of course, Zay Flowers hasn't signed his big deal yet. Once he does that, that will probably shoot up that list a little bit. But with this news, and again, I preface this, I preface the A.J. Brown stuff with that. With this news that the Ravens are considered the most likely potential partners with the Eagles for an AJ Brown trade, along with the Patriots, how does that make you feel, Alex? I already know you said you don't think it's going to happen, and I think I low key agree with you, right? I mean, it feels like AJ Brown is much more of a candidate for the Patriots than us, right?
EDC doesn't trade for offensive guys, defensive guys. He doesn't trade for an offensive guy. So I was sitting there thinking about, what offensive guys has he traded for? Free agency picked him up, but traded for Marcus Peters, traded for Roquan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? He traded for somebody else. He traded for somebody else defensively. I'm just like completely missing. Oh, and Ngakwe traded for him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Guys like that. He does not trade for offensive guys. And I'm sorry, I just thought about how much cap we had in the receiver room. I pulled up our receivers that are under contract, and I'll let you know. But it's like, you throw the Ravens name in something like this, you're going to get clicks. That's one thing the Ravens fans are great for. We will give you as many clicks as you want. You can disrespect us, or you can give us hope. We will give you as many clicks as you want. Talk bad about
all the smoke.
We'll be on your ass. You give us a little bit of hope, we'll be freaking retweeting it, quoting it. Hell, I might make a video of it. I'm guilty of it. I'm gullible as hell. But that's what we're good for. You will get interaction out of us, and that's what they do. So Jeff McLane got his interaction.
Yeah, he did. And Jeff McLane, for those of you guys who don't know, is an Eagles reporter, right? He's an Eagles reporter. I guess somewhere in the realm of like what a Jeff Zaribek would be for us, right? Or whatever. I'm not really too versed on the guy, but apparently he's got his ears to the Philly streets about the Philadelphia Eagles. So, but it is interesting though, because it makes sense though, Alex. I mean, it makes sense. We're talking about, a team who said that they want to make a big ticket splash in free agency, something that they normally don't do, or just the offseason in general. That's what Eric DeCosta said. His words, not mine. Again, his words, not mine. Also, a team who knows right? Outside of Zay Flowers, what receiver talent do they have? And you're talking about for an aging Lamar Jackson, who Jesse Minter just said, what, last week, as of last week, hey, look, we think that Lamar Jackson can actually run less, right? Well, here's the thing. If you want him to run less, you got to get him better talent on the outsides to catch passes. Because as it stands right now, as much as I love me some Rashad Bateman, as much as I love me the prospect of Tez Walker stepping up and being that guy, right? A solid wide receiver too, or what have you. You know, as much as I love the prospect of maybe bringing back a D Hop on a 1.4, $1.2 million deal, who knows, right? The Ravens don't have quite enough receiver talent, especially if you lose an Isaiah Likely, which is looking like that's going to happen, right? How many weapons do they really have? Are we really banking on Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews being that strong 1-2 punch that is going to take the Ravens from September to February with their production? I don't see that, you know, and I also don't see them drafting a high enough wide receiver that's going to take those reins either. So the AJ Brown thing, what they're asking for, isn't it a second, like this year's second in something else, or was it like this year's first? I can't remember.
I feel like it's going to be a first now. If DJ Moore gets you a second, it's got to be a first for AJ. I think they're the biggest winners out of that trade.
Ooh, that's a good point though.
I
That's a
think
good point. That's a really
that's the
good
only
point. I
thing.
didn't think about it like that.
I'm like, well, there goes AJ Brown. Like, if you think you're getting for maybe the cheap, and with Howie, yeah, Howie's not going to go let him cheap. Absolutely not. You aren't fleecing no Howie.
Yeah. Yeah. Price just went up. Price just went up, man. Because like you mentioned, man, if DJ Moore's worth the second, AJ Brown's got to be worth the first.
Yep.
You know, got to be worth the first. So, nah, man, I could totally see that happening. I also did read, like we see here, it's understood that the Eagles are inclined to only trade with AFC teams. So maybe you can get a little AFC discount, right? If you're an AFC team trying to barter for an AJ Brown, right? Maybe you can get a discount. Maybe they're talking about for NFC teams. Hey, look, it's a
Yeah.
first or nothing. First or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then next year we want a third, right? Something like that. So maybe you do get a little bit of a discount if you're an AFC team. We'll see though, but I do still believe that the two most likely teams, like it says here in this report, to land AJ Brown are still our Ravens and the AFC East New England Patriots, who are just in the Super Bowl. But the kicker is, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier in the chat, I mean, AJ Brown has all the reasons to go out and be a Patriot, right? You're going to be in an offense with a young quarterback who is looking for, right, his security blanket. He hasn't really had, I mean, we're looking at Kayshawn Booty, Mac Hollins, Stefon Diggs no longer there, obviously. He's looking for his security blanket, right? And more importantly, his head coach, Mike Vrabel, is looking for Drake May's security blanket. No, by the way, Mike Vrabel coached AJ Brown back in Tennessee. So there's already ties there, you know? So I think that the Patriots are probably going to sell out for my money. I think the Patriots will sell out to go ahead and get an AJ Brown, and that will be the end of that saga for us Ravens fans.
Low key, like, I could see the Chargers could use them. Him with Ladd and Quentin Johnston, AJ. No more Greg
Yeah.
Roman. They have the money. They need a line though. So I don't. That's
They need a
the only
line.
reason
Yeah.
holding them back. They need a line.
Yeah.
But oh, real quick, since we're on the topic of receivers, here are the Ravens' active receivers going into this next year under contract: Rashad Bateman, Say
Mhm.
Flowers, Devontae Walker, LeJontay Wester. End of list. Hell, even Dayton Wade, exclusive rights free agent. We have 4 receivers under contract.
Yeah, not looking too hot. Not looking too hot, man. I mean, they've really got to do something to improve, you know, the threat, right? And again, I think that Declan Doyle and Joe Lombardi and whoever else can scheme up some ways for some of these other guys, like I mentioned before on last week's or earlier this week's Monday's episode. I think guys like Rashad Bateman and Tez Walker, they will be unlocked in this Declan Doyle offense. So maybe we're doing all this talking now just for the Ravens to not make a move. We're going to be, you know, have our faces all twisted up at that, right? I'm sure the Ravens might draft somebody, but if they don't make a splash for a guy like AJ Brown or hell, even like an Alec Pierce, I don't know. I mean, two different sides of the spectrum for me. If they don't make a move for a proven commodity, Mike Evans, I don't know, then what what are we really going to be left with? And I think again, Declan Doyle is going to be looking at some of those guys who are on the cheap, for the Ravens, like Tez Walker, guys who have been around for a little bit, who have some good skills, like Rashad Bateman. He's going to try to get the most out of him, and I definitely think he will be able to. But it would just make me feel more secure as a fan if the Ravens were able to somehow, some way, get themselves a proven bona fide number one wide receiver. But I understand as well because I can't have it both ways. If I'm going to say that Lamar Jackson is able to hold out and be a businessman and not you know give all the power to the Ravens to make some of the deals like that happen, then I'm just going to stick with the fruits and veggies routes. Let's just rebuild the trenches. Let's rebuild the trenches and rock out with the weapons we have. We've seen Lamar Jackson do a lot with less throughout his career. I mean, hell, he was throwing to guys like Seth Roberts and Miles Boykin and Chris Moore in MVP seasons, right? And throwing 35 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So we've seen this guy been able to do more with less. So it's all about rebuilding the trenches, really.
What's crazy, Miles Boykin actually just retired. I think like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Shout out
that.
Miles Boykin, man. Shout out Boykin.
I mean, he had a good career. Special teams guy, was in the league for about what 6 years, so good on him. And Chris Moore, this guy went from like catching touchdown passes from Joe Flacco to catching passes from Jaden Daniels. He's had a weird like career arc. He was a really good receiver for the Texans and went to the Commanders, been solid. Good on them. I mean, I'm glad they found life after Baltimore as a receiver because that's very rare. I mean, usually you come here and your just career
Yeah, you come
dies
here to
really
die.
quick. It's so good on them. They
Yeah.
made it out. They made it out. But um, the list you had up of the cap space for receivers, we're 29th, correct? I believe
Yep. Yep.
13.9 million, and most of that's probably Bateman. Other three guys are just on rookie contract.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, once Zay gets his deal, that will kind of shoot up a little bit. But again, it just speaks to what the Ravens really prioritize, right? I mean, they've always kind of looked at themselves like a run first team. That's why, I mean, Derrick Henry is by far the greatest offensive weapon that they have acquired for Lamar Jackson while he's been here, right? But at the same time, we have found ourselves frequently in games where teams are selling out to stop the run, and they're going to make Lamar Jackson throw, right? They're going to make him throw, which is not to say that like he is not to act like he can't throw or anything like that, but they know that's not the Ravens' strong suit because number one, they don't have a lot of the guys at pass catcher who are going to really burn you and make you pay, right, for selling out to stop the run, a whole bunch, right? So it's just one of those things, man. You gotta again start down low, interior O line, get that fixed up. Defensive line, whether that looks like Matabike coming back, we talked about that on Monday. Whether it looks like going out and getting a guy in free agency, high draft capital, just across the O line and D line. If you get those right, the rest will follow. The rest will follow. I believe that. Um, but all right, Alex, let's go ahead and move on here. We only have a couple more things to
Yeah,
cover. Stefon Diggs was released yesterday from the Patriots. The Patriots are going to save 16.8 mil in a salary cap by releasing him. He had 85 catches, over 1,000 yards, and 4 touchdowns in his 1 year with the Patriots. And now New England will be in on the wide receiver market again. Just talked about them potentially going after AJ Brown. How did you feel when you got this news that Stefon Diggs got released?
I think when he signed his contract, it was like a 2 or 3 year deal for a bunch of money, but in all, it was a 1 year contract because they could always get out of the contract. And not surprised, especially if AJ Brown is available and if they want to go after him. Vrabel ties from Tennessee, all that good stuff. 1,000 yards is good. It was a good, I guess, bridge for Drake May to have a guy like that to maybe bridge on to another big receiver. And how it feels to have a number one guy or a bona fide one. Now you know. So let's get him somebody better. But did wonders for the Patriots, made a Super Bowl. I mean, I consider the time their success. You get to save 17 million now, so good on them. And as for Diggs, I like my Maryland guys, but I think I'm gonna pass on this one. I really do. I think I'm gonna pass. It's a typical Ravens
Yeah,
move though. It's a very typical move. Great route
I
though.
would
Don't get me wrong,
pass.
but
I'm all set on Stefon Diggs, man. I mean, you talk about just the sheer distraction. You know what I'm saying? From him, you know, doing designer drugs on a yacht before the season
yeah.
started to
Oh,
getting rappers pregnant
um,
and
I
harassing
think
his personal chef. I'm good. I'm all set on Mr.
Cardi said have
Diggs.
fun in Cancun while in Baltimore with him.
Yeah. Just nasty stuff.
Oh man,
Nasty
a little
stuff.
salt in the wound.
Cardi is not welcome back in the bank ever again. By the way, she's not good. She's no longer good in our hood. I'm stamping that. Not
Mm,
really, but you get what I'm saying. Damn it,
yeah. Yeah, the whole
I
boat
hated that
stuff. I
video.
forgot about the boats. There's a whole mystery substance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, then we'll call it that.
yeah,
We'll call it that.
yeah, yeah, man. Get out
Glaucoma,
of here with this.
the BBL bandit. That is
Yeah, man. What are we talking about here with this guy? Get this guy out of here. Get this Joker out of here. What else? Did we cover Trent McDuffie? I don't think you did. I don't think you gave me
no,
your
I did
take on
not.
him.
I d I think it's, 10,000 IQ from the Chiefs. It's smart. They know they can't
Yeah,
sign him. They know they're not gonna give him all that money, and you get a first round pick out of it. That's, that's smart on their behalf. He's a damn good corner. But I think both teams will win. The Rams, last time they did this, it worked out. They got Jalen Ramsey for a first round pick. They won the Super Bowl with him. They're
yeah,
buying in. And why shouldn't you? I think Les Snead saw his biggest rivals go, well, not biggest, saw a rival go and win the Super Bowl. He's like, all right, cool. Let's go win the next Super Bowl. So good on them and good on the Chiefs for kind of knowing they're not going to extend him and get a first round. Kind of like when we traded Hollywood. He wanted to go out. I don't think we were going to sign him to a deal, so we got a first round pick for him. Good on them.
yeah. And the Chiefs, I mean, like we're saying here, they're going to go up and they're going to fix that offensive line, right?
Yeah.
They're going to make sure that that offensive line is ready to go next year. Just got rid of Jawan Taylor. Now they have 2 first round picks. I believe they have the number 9 and the number 29 pick as well. So I think they're going to crush the draft. I think one of their picks might be an O lineman. They might also go out and buy an O lineman in free agency. And I think another one of those picks in the first round are going to be a running back. I do.
Yeah.
And that would be probably one of the juiciest picks of the first round to say, the Chiefs are landing, what is supposed to be a star first round running back, whatever that may look like, you
Yeah.
know. So let me
And the
see
crazy part,
here.
the
Go,
Rams
go
still
ahead.
have a
Yeah.
first round pick.
Yeah, they do. Number 13, right? They pick right
Yep.
before us, I want to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Cameron says in the chat, I hope they don't get Vega, the
Yeah.
Chiefs, with that number 9 pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be tough. That'd be tough. Um, because
I,
wait a minute, the
yeah.
their is it their guard center guard combo, or is it just both their tackles? I thought it was both their tackles that they needed to patch up. Can we
The
can we look
Rams
up their
or the
depth chart?
Chiefs?
No, the Chiefs. The Chiefs.
Oh, it's the tackles. It's the tackles.
Yeah,
Jawan
that's what I
Taylor.
thought.
Yeah, Jawan Taylor was awful. And then the other one is Simmons from Ohio State who had the mental health issues. They don't really know what's going on with him if he's going to be playing or not
Yeah.
because he
Who's
just
their
went.
left guard? Just out of curiosity.
Isn't it Kingsley Sulam? Oh, is it him? Is it
So
Kingsley?
Matea.
Yeah, let me check their depth chart real quick. It is. Yep, Kingsley. Center Creed Humphrey. Right guard Trey Smith.
Yeah, so their guard center guard is not bad,
Yeah.
So and for them to get Vega at 9, like another guard at 9, I think that would be a reach. So I think that Vega is still safe for now,
Yeah.
right? He's still safe. But we'll see. We'll see. Draft is right around the corner. It's next month, guys. It's next month. We got to lock in. Draft is next month. Linderbaum's gone. We all know that. He's going to get paid out the ass. We've talked about that at length. Kyler Murray was
Yeah.
released earlier this week, man. I mean, we got to one hell of a victory lap for Ravens fans. They brought up all sorts of tweets about Ryan Clark saying, a couple years, well, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, how he would start a franchise with Kyler Murray if he wanted to win. All this stuff, How do you feel about Kyler Murray being released by the Cardinals? And supposedly he still wants to be a starting quarterback.
Do it, MJ. Baseball. Athletics will take you. They're moving. They're moving. They could use a big hot name to start selling tickets there. They said, they would welcome him with open arms. But there is some spots I think the Vikings to me just makes way too much sense. Way too much freaking sense for him. Kevin O'Connell, Jettas,
Yeah.
Addison. The one thing though, like I'm kind of like envious of this. Kyler always had targets. He can never say he never was surrounded with guys. You come in, you got Fitz, one of the best ever. Your second year, they go and get you D Hop. Then you get your best friend, Hollywood Brown. Then you get Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm like, damn. Then you have Trey McBride. Then you have Michael Wilson, who's a 1,000-yard receiver. I'm like,
Had
damn.
James Conner at the top of his powers.
exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy, it just never happened, and I don't know if that was coaching. Obviously, Cliff may not be built for a head coach. Maybe OC, offensive consultant, is maybe his calling. He'll get another head coaching job, but maybe it was too green for that. But I think if he went to the Vikings, they could definitely use him. I think he would succeed there.
I mean, it's like Woody though. I think that the biggest reason why Kyler Murray never really panned out in the NFL is simply just because of his height. It's his size, right? He is a short king, right? Kyler Murray is how tall? What, 5'9", 5'10" on a great day? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not that tall to be an NFL quarterback. Like imagine if Lamar Jackson wasn't 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is, and imagine if he was 5'9", like it would make it way harder for him to be the passer that he is. And eventually these teams catch up, they kind of catch up and key in on how to slow down, at least slow down your athleticism, right? And they're going to make you sit back there in that pocket and deliver that football. However that looks, whether it be with cage rushes, keeping spies, whatever, they're going to make you do that. And if you run into dominant defensive lines, i.e., like what the Seahawks had this past season, i.e., like what the Patriots had, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of other ones throughout the league. You're gonna struggle. You're just gonna struggle. Is another reason why I never thought that Dylan Gabriel kid or Tua Tagovailoa. I know those are two totally different players, but both smaller guys. I knew these guys weren't going to pan out, but yet they paid Kyler Murray crazy amounts of money. They paid Tua Tagovailoa crazy amounts of money, which is even more wild to me with the concussions and things with Tua. But
Yeah.
the Cardinals still owe this guy $36 million, I want to say, next year.
I don't want to go too hard on him. I don't seem like I'm hating on him, but this guy got saved a lot from playing games at 425. He got saved a lot because he had some stinkers. He had some bad
Mm,
games that nobody really talked about because the Cardinals were never competitive. We didn't look at them as
yeah,
real contenders at points. But they'll be that game that you wouldn't see that much on Red Zone, or it would be the Chiefs playing at 425, and then maybe like the Cowboys, the Eagles playing on Fox. And the other game would be on Fox or CBS, and that's just the Cardinals playing. You just wouldn't watch them.
yeah,
There he had some bad games, and I think it was best that they moved on from him. And then obviously there's concerns about the whole streaming and that Call of Duty stuff because there was a little bit of validity to that. I'm not sure how much it was, but I feel like that's kind of uh, a weird thing to bring up in
yeah.
with him. But it was true.
Uh, yeah, I see somebody in the chat saying Bryce Young is also 5'9" as well. I mean, yeah, but listen, man, I can guarantee you if the Panthers make the playoffs again next season and Bryce Young even looks decent or average, he will become the new Tua Tagovailoa, right? They're going to pay another short king at quarterback. Nothing
Mm.
wrong with short kings. Trust me, nothing wrong with them. I like to consider myself a short king, right? But when it comes to playing professional football, especially the quarterback position, it just doesn't work, bro. You got to be able to see over that offensive line. Those guys up front are 300 plus pounds. You got guys like Daniel Falele who are 6'7", right? You're gonna like that just creates traffic in your throwing lane, unnecessary traffic, right? Friendly fire, damn near, and you just don't want that. So
Certain positions you can't be short in any sport. I look at soccer. Imagine being a defender and you're 5'7", 5'8", going for a header. You ain't defending shit. You're
yeah,
getting
hell
bullied.
no, yeah, you're
You're able to
getting
touch
that
the
literally, you're getting
game.
posterized.
Yeah, Messi's short, but he's just different. He's not playing
Yeah,
defense. He's up there scoring. Which, by the way, I will be seeing Messi this weekend play. Actually, I'm actually really excited.
really.
Yeah, they're playing at M&T Bank Stadium, Inter Miami. Playing.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I'll be back at
Mint-
the bank this weekend.
Okay, nice, nice, nice. Definitely make sure you flick it up. That's gonna be cool. Have you ever seen Messi play live?
Never, ever.
Never. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I've never seen him play live either, but I'm sure that will be a treat, even in his older years. Right?
Yeah,
It's like seeing LeBron out there. You know what I mean? Even
exactly,
though he's a little older,
exactly,
right? It's
exactly.
still cool. It's still
That's why
dope.
you're going. You're going to say you saw him play.
Yep, yep. All right, Alex. I don't think that there was anything else. Of course, we know the Ravens didn't use the franchise tag on Tyler Linderbaum. He's probably gone.
Yeah,
Let me see. Oh, there was that Logan Paul thing I was telling you about. That's right.
yeah. Here we go.
Logan Paul has issued a challenge to all NFL players saying, "Hey, look, if you can beat me in a boxing match, one on one, mano a mano, I will give you $1 million." He's putting out $1 million bet on himself that he can beat any NFL player in a boxing match. And the one he originally called out, he said he would originally he called out Myles Garrett of all people, saying he could beat Myles Garrett in a boxing match. Now listen, I don't know what Myles Garrett's hands are looking like, but the dude is built like a Greek god. That's all I know. And he's an athletic freak who plays edge rusher, man. He's going to be in your face all day, you know? So I know, like you said before we went live, the Paul brothers, they do all this shit just for clicks, and they do a damn good job at it. But this kind of intrigues me. Here you have Deion Dawkins showing off his boxing skills because he's taken up Jake Paul on his, not Jake Paul, but Logan Paul on his challenge. He had other guys like Le'Veon Bell calling him out, say they want to step up to the plate. Tony Jefferson, former Raven, said he would step up to the plate and fight Logan Paul. Alex, what do you make of all this?
Great marketing on their behalf. Good on Logan. Just stick to WWE, I guess. I think he's doing that. Guy couldn't beat KSI, another YouTuber, in a boxing match, and he goes and calls out professional athlete Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? Myles Garrett. Any of them. You pick Myles Garrett, who we've seen him get pissed off, and we saw what happened. I don't think I want to see Myles
Oh
Garrett pissed off.
yeah. Yeah, no, I don't, bro. And like Logan Paul, it's not even like he focuses on boxing. Like his brother Jake, I think he focuses more on boxing. But
Yes.
Logan Paul is like, unless I'm doing a big exhibition fight against like a Floyd Mayweather for a couple $1 million, and I'm not training, right? I'll go do my WWE stuff over here, which of course still keeps him in good shape. But to be able to box, man, I would take Myles Garrett. I'd take Myles Garrett money line beating Logan Paul in a boxing match. Straight up.
Eh, Cam brings up here. Yeah, Le'Veon does box. Le'Veon beat Adrian Peterson in an exhibition boxing match. I feel like start with Le'Veon. Start with him, but not leave for a couple
Yeah.
years in that boxing shape. That probably give you a better fight. Yeah, Miles. He would just. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
But
bad.
The
It'd be
Browns would
bad.
never let that happen. Though. You think the Browns would be like, we would
Yeah.
just give you $1 million in a bonus? No, you're good.
Yeah.
You broke the record in sacks. You're not boxing. That's not happening.
Right. Not happening. Not happening. Um, speaking of fights,
Yeah.
before we get out of here, I mentioned at the top of the show that this week is UFC 326, I want to say it is. And the main event is Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. And I want to go ahead and give you my pick, my official pick here on the Purple Rain podcast. I'm going with Max Holloway. I'm going
Mm.
with Max Holloway, uh, straight up to win, right? If you want method of victory, I would say TKO rounds 1 through 3. That's what I would say. I just feel like in this fight, Charles Oliveira, he in his older years, he's a little bit chinny, which means that you touch him in the right spot on the chin, his brain is going to stop communicating with his legs. He's going to go down, and if that happens, which I think it will, because Max Holloway is a phenomenal boxer, he's going to be all over him, and he's going to finish the fight. Again, I think within 3 rounds. Give me Max Holloway, but it's going to be a great fight though.
Yeah, I'll be watching. I cannot wait. Paramount again. I'm loving their presentation. I like that. I like that pick of Max. I think he does. I think he does win.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Anything else, Alex, before we get out of here?
Anything else? Do we have anything else? Um,
I don't think so. I
Nothing
think we
else
covered all
sport
the
wise.
bases.
I think everything's been covered. I mean, the World Baseball Classic
Okay.
started. If there's that, so I hope the
Okay.
USA wins that. They should. They have
I
a
mean,
fantastic
sure. Yeah.
back team, but that's a really all I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah. World Cup still right around the corner, less than 100 days away, right? Something like that, Alex.
That's 100 days away.
Yeah.
Not even
We're getting there.
thinking about that right now. We're getting there. Not even thinking about it. Got the English Premier
I
League
know.
on my list.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, when do you guys play next? When does Arsenal play next?
Arsenal plays Saturday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, 6:15 your time. It is a different competition they play in. They play a lower league team. They are playing at a ground that can hold probably 10,000 people. That's the beauty of it all. The beauty of like English and just soccer in general. You play teams in lower leagues that once in a lifetime for their fans. It's the coolest thing in the world. But
It's giving college. It's giving freaking Alabama
yeah,
versus UTEP.
yeah. Like imagine like a big here we go. What's like a smaller school that everybody would know? It's like if Alabama played where I went to school, Towson. They would probably beat the
Yeah,
living piss out of them, but it would be sold out because everybody wants to go and see it. It's kind of like
yeah.
that.
True. Fair,
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. Shout out to the guys across the pond. I mean, they enjoy it. I mean, I definitely think that you should try to make your way out there and get to an Arsenal game in person. That'd be dope, right?
I I've thought about it. Definitely need to. I have my passport. It's just the right time. Just gotta be the right time.
Yeah, I understand that. Understand that. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show here as we still have over 270 people watching live across all platforms. Shout out to y'all. This has been a beautiful episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Again, if you are new here, my name is Sutton Def. This is my co-host, Simply AS10. We do go live every Monday and Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about our Ravens, breaking down all things about our Ravens. Again, your number one source for Ravens content. So shout out to you guys. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. And with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through to episode 384 of the Purple Rain podcast. Next time that we are having a show, I believe the tampering period for free agency would have started.
Yes.
So a lot can happen in between now and on Monday. And I hope Lamar signs and we have like an emergency Purple Rain. That's really what I'm hoping for because that would just make life so
Yeah.
much easier. But until then,
Mm.
hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, enjoy it, and always stay positive and test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This has been episode 384 of the Purple Rain podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next video. Peace.